When you became president, I was in the university, and I was employed as a volunteer at Radio Universe in the year 2000. And we were made to believe that one of the most important things that happened in your first 2 years was the repeal of the criminal libel law. We didn't understand it fully at the time, but now we see it. What is your idea for media when you became president? How did you see the media, and why did you take that action?
Well, the repeal, what was the law? The law's title was Criminal Libel Law, and it had been there for quite some time, the whole idea being to muzzle the media, which globally has been known as the mouthpiece of communication within politics, where a nation is described as democratic. You go, say, in those days like Britain or France or United States, then governments were kept on their toes. Of course, through, say, the institution of parliament, opposition, and so forth, but more so generally by the media. They held governments to account, socially too. If you like the term Ghanaians like, conscientize. They awakened the people to know rights from wrongs, and for the people to contribute directly to straightening up the leadership of their communities and states. In Ghana, that law that had been there from colonial times continued into independence. The party in which I cut my political teeth was in a deep opposition from independence, and of the many years into independence. My side had only just 2 years, 3 months.
Buzia.
Yes, in power. But the rest of the time, our party was zipped tightly at the lips and couldn't contribute openly. So we saw the unfairness of that law, even where government was not ruling to the interest and development, proper development of community. You just couldn't criticize. So when we got the chance, incidentally, just before we got the chance to, you remember the episode of the Radio Eye, which was founded by Dr. Reku Brobe, Kumi Preku works, and I happened to have taken part in those things. So when we got the opportunity to go into government, and because we thought you couldn't talk democracy without free press, media, we thought, get rid of that law quickly so the people would have freedom of thought, of expression, of association, of criticism, to hold governments to account, and as a major contributory factor towards social advancement. And truly, it was the first law our government repealed, and it was in the first year, not second year.
First year?
First year. The first law we repealed.
Some NDC people accuse the media generally in Ghana of being pro-MPP because of that.
Well, that's opinion. It's part of democracy. Opinions are, if you like, everybody must have an opinion, and they should be free to express their opinions, of course, within enlightened framework of law, because there are the sedition laws, the libel laws, and if you overshoot your mouth, there's a way that the rule of law should discipline you. But if you can keep within the rule of law, let them talk, let them criticize that the media would favor because the media contributed to the free media. So that they may say that, but I don't think so, because even when we repealed, I remember some of the mushrooming media that had found their voices perhaps for the first time. They turned on us, criticizing my government at every turn. So some of our party people came to me and said, you see what you've done? You did it too quickly. You shouldn't have. But, well,
some of your party people, wow.
Yeah.
So it wasn't necessarily a popular across.
Well, people who criticized, I think many people liked truly democratic people liked it. But they thought we had rushed with it, and that it should have been a sort of a gradual evolution of free media. But the point is, there's an adage, you know the worm. They say, and it's supposed to be blind, the worm. They say when it should have cut ice, where it didn't. It said it was going to wait till it matured into adulthood before getting ice. Things turned out that by the time it grew up, the place had become so callous, it couldn't cut ice wet. So I believed things that had to be done
at the time. Some people feel the law was more newspaper focused at the time, and when we see how electronic media has changed, radio stations have exploded, and TV, they feel the freedom has not been well managed, particularly by electronic media.
Well, what people are not admitting was that time, did we have the electronic world much? You see, the technology is coming by leaps and bounds. Now we are talking of the digital age. Since when did we have the digital times? Analog, digital, and now we are talking artificial intelligence. It's not in place there. So, you see, if you like, our laws are challenged to keep pace with the rapid technological changes. So the time that we repealed the law, what prevailed was the print media. And now, from then, information, ICT or whatever you call it, also came in, and through ICT we are getting. So lawmakers should be abreast with the rapid changes of technology, but the centrality of accountable and responsible media should be in place without sort of killing off the freedom of.
And how does a country strike that balance between the imperative of freedom and also the virtue of responsibility?
That's the challenge of governance and leadership. Leadership, as I said, should be visionary. Being a visionary means you are seeing ahead of, if you like, the masses. And if you anticipate what's coming and the relevance of what's coming to the development of society, of your society, then you begin to tinker with the laws that would enable you use the new technologies accountably and responsibly for the good of the people. Always laws should be human-centered. Since the laws, the technologies would impinge on the well-being of people, the lawmakers, when I say leadership, I'm not talking exclusively of, say, the executive. The legislature, the People's Forum should be involved. Even the judiciary should also be fair. And when we do this with the media itself also espousing what's coming and the challenges, and like these days we talk of cyber security, we are talking of hacking into electoral systems and so forth and so on. I think it should be a continuing debate.
Do you feel it's more regulation or self-censorship by responsible media practice?
I should be. It shouldn't be judged. What laws that cannot be enforced are not laws. So yes, the lawmaker, self-censorship, responsible citizenship, for the good of man. When I say man, including woman, of course.
Generic man.
Yes. So it's a continuing challenge to humanity generally. And it's not just local. It's happening in the most advanced, technologically advanced places like United States. It's a big continuing debate there now. Europe, everywhere. China.